Hey everyone, let's talk about keeping your boat's power system in top shape. You know your batteries are pretty much your lifeline out on the water, right? Well, today we're diving into a super important piece of gear that keeps that lifeline strong, the 24-volt marine battery charger. Honestly, getting this right means way more time enjoying the water and a lot less time stuck at the dock. So let's jump in. So let me just ask you something straight up. Are you accidentally destroying your boat's batteries? I know, it sounds a little dramatic, but you'd be shocked at how common and expensive this mistake is. A lot of boat owners are doing it, and they don't even have a clue. You see, if your boat has one of those powerful trolling motors, we're talking anything over 55 pounds of thrust, or if you have a dual battery bank for all your electronics, chances are you're running on a 24-volt system. And if you are, just grabbing any old charger off the garage shelf is a big no-no. And that brings us to the real heart of the issue, what I like to call the 24-volt power problem. Let's really dig into why using a standard charger on your boat is pretty much a costly mistake just waiting to happen. This right here really tells the whole story. A regular charger, it just isn't cut out for this job. It's not only going to risk frying your very expensive marine batteries, I mean, we're talking hundreds of dollars just down the drain, but it's also not built to survive in that wet, salty air. But a dedicated 24-volt marine charger, that thing is engineered to handle that tough environment. It protects your investment and, most importantly, makes sure you've got power when you really need it. So what is a marine charger, really? Think of it as a specialized piece of equipment. It's designed to do one thing and do it perfectly. Charge your batteries safely and efficiently, all while protecting them from what I call the triple threat: overcharging, sulfation, and corrosion. All right, so we get the problem now. Let's talk about the solution. How do you actually go about choosing the right charger? We're going to look at the most important features and the main types you should be considering. Okay, let's walk through the features that you absolutely have to look for. First being waterproof or marine rated. That's totally non-negotiable. It's your #1 defense against that corrosive saltwater. Multi-bank charging is just a huge convenience, right? It lets you juice up both your trolling motor and your house batteries at the same time. No more swapping cables around. Now, smart charging, this is a real game changer. It automatically adjusts the power so you don't overcook your batteries, which can literally add years to their lifespan. And finally, reverse polarity projection. Such a simple feature, but trust me, it's the one that saves you from that horrible oops moment and a several $100 mistake if you ever mix up the cables. And hey, if you're wondering where to even start looking, here's a pro tip from our source material. Look for brands that are trusted in the marine industry. The Aiolith AC2425 gets a specific shout out as a great example of a charger that has all these smart features built right in. Now, you've basically got two main styles to choose from. On the left, you've got your onboard chargers. These are for the serious boater, the person who's out on the water all the time. You install them permanently, and they're built to last. Then on the right, you have portable chargers. These are a great plug-and-play option if you're more of an occasional user or you have a smaller boat. They are less expensive, but you trade off a bit of that heavy-duty durability. So, you've picked out your charger. Awesome. Now you gotta put it to work safely. Let's talk about how to install it properly and do some simple upkeep so it performs for years and years. You know, installation is pretty straightforward if you just follow the steps. Safety first, right? Always disconnect the batteries. Mount the charger up high and dry, somewhere it won't get hit with water spray from the bilge. Then, it's really just a matter of connecting everything according to the labels, making sure you seal up your connections real good, and using a proper marine-rated power cord. The final check? Just make sure those little LED lights are giving you the all clear. And the maintenance? It's even easier. These are just simple habits to get into. Charge them up after every single trip, and never ever mix different battery types on the same charger. A quick check for corrosion once a month and a voltage test every few weeks will save you so many headaches later. And when winter rolls around, just disconnect them and store them somewhere cool and dry. Easy peasy. Okay, let's take a minute and clear up some of the most common questions and, the confusion that seems to pop up around these 24-volt systems. First up, and this one's a biggie, can you just use a standard 12-volt charger on your 24-volt system, or maybe even two of them? The answer to that is a hard no. Just don't do it. It's simply not going to work. You won't get a proper charge, and you're running a really high risk of causing some serious, permanent, and expensive damage to your batteries. Always, always match the charger voltage to your system voltage. Okay, next question I hear all the time. How long does this actually take? How long until I can get back out on the water? Well, it's actually a pretty simple calculation. It all comes down to two things: the power of your charger, that's the amperage, and the size of your battery bank. So, for example, a more powerful 20 amp charger can fill up a 100 amp hour bank in about half the time of a 10 amp one. Basically, more power means less time waiting around at the dock. What about just leaving it plugged in? Can you just set it and forget it, especially during the winter or the off-season? And the answer is yes. But, and this is a really big but, you can only do this if you have a smart charger. Those are the ones with an automatic float mode, which is kind of like a trickle charge that just keeps the battery topped off without overcharging it and causing damage. And for our last question, let's talk about the new kid on the block. Lithium batteries are getting way more popular in boats, so do they need a special kind of charger? Oh yeah, they absolutely do. Lithium batteries are a whole different animal. They need a very specific charging profile to work safely and last a long time. The good news is a lot of modern smart chargers are built for this. They have different settings for different battery types, lithium, AGM, the whole shebang. So let's bring it all home with the Smart Boaters checklist. These are the key things to remember that'll give you total peace of mind when you're out on the water. So what's the big payoff here? Why go through all this trouble? It's really simple. With the right marine-grade charger, you will prevent costly damage to your batteries. You'll spend way less time stuck at the dock and more time on the water. And you will literally extend the life of your batteries by years. It's one of those investments that truly pays for itself over and over again. Which really just leaves us with one final thought. Before you head out for your next big adventure, just ask yourself, is my boat's lifeline, its power system, truly secure? Making the right choice with your charger, make sure the answer is yes. Thanks for joining me.